My name's James and welcome to R&R, the show where I react to and review some of the latest and greatest music videos. A few weeks back, Chris Atwell from the band The Cost reached out in the comments section when I covered their song Not For Me. We got to chatting a little bit. I mentioned that I had also found his other band, Valmuz. I listened to a few of their songs, thought they were pretty cool, and then Chris suggested if I could maybe react to some Valmuz videos. I then said, potentially, what would you suggest that I check out? Chris wrote back either Home or Solar. I couldn't decide which one, so I thought, let's just do them both, and that's what we'll be doing today. So let's get to it.
They say there's no smoke without fire. The consequence of climbing higher. Take me home, hippodrome. Take me home.
Woo! Obviously, these boys have chops. I'm liking the syncopation in the riff, the that's really nice. That's got a bit of grit in there. It's got a bit of funk, a bit of class, a bit of style. The way that it opens up the song is so ear-catching, and the fact that you get that little, almost a bit of a reprieve with the chordal arrangement that comes after it, and you also get some really nice effects, particularly on the guitar, and then the synths that are sort of backing it, or seem to be. I don't want to make too many comparisons between Valmuz and The Cost. However, the way that Peter's vocal really melds its way, or it's almost a liquid, sort of a viscous liquid that kind of finds its way into fitting around the musical arrangement, and it does it so well. It does it almost too well, and maybe it's also just the musical arrangement as well. There's quite a bit going on in there, so it does feel that his vocals, both in The Cost and Valmuz so far, only 40 seconds in, but they do seem to get a bit more overshadowed. I guess his voice adds a lot of texture to the sound as well, which is quite interesting. I will say that when it does come to jazz, and this is obviously more fusion jazz style, I do gravitate towards stuff that is more vocal based. This is, I guess, so far more musically forward, and I am interested to know what the lyrical content is and what sort of narrative it's bringing, other than just sort of that nice texture that it brings so far. I wonder how long it took for them to jump down off the roof.
Don't leave it all down to the wire.
Ooh,
First comes to serve.
some nice keys in there. That little riff that went down.
Take me home, hippodrome.
That bass line. God damn. I am really loving the music video. Simple but super effective. Got that quirkiness that the music also has. Works super well. Ooh. Syncopation. wild synth solo. Ooh. Damn. That was cool. The funk is within me, I think. Going back to Peter's vocal style, and particularly his lyrical style as well, it does seem there is a bit more of a metaphorical sort of leaning, or a bit more of a poetry based, and sort of leaves it a little bit up to the imagination to kind of fill in the blanks, and gives, I guess, the listener that space to insert themselves into the narrative and sort of latch on to making the lyrics their own. One of the commenters in my videos covering the cost mentioned, you know, they're not really too fussed on the lyrics, but more the vibe that the vocals are bringing. And I think, again, that's kind of what we get here. There's definitely, again, with Peter's vocal style, it really does bring an emotion and a vibe with it, and a texture. And then to the music of it all, you know, as I said, these boys absolutely have chops. There's no doubt about that. I loved the compositional style, particularly the approach for the guitar playing, how the guitar is kind of just in there. It's just doing what a good, I guess, jazz guitar should do a lot of the time. And it's kind of just there more or less texturally, you know, and bringing a good basis for the chordal structure, the harmonic structure to the song. Whereas it did seem that all the other instruments really got their time to show off a little bit more. I wish there was maybe a little bit more from the sax, but yeah, it was just really doing a great job of, yeah, adding that, you know, it might sound silly, but that brassy texture that you obviously get from a saxophone, and that, I guess, the voicing that you get from it as well, particularly in those moments where it is really locking in with those syncopated beats. And yeah, the drummer as well, you know, amazing job. Really doing what, I guess, yeah, a jazz rock fusion drummer does super well, and is just very tight, but not so tight that it's robotic, that there's still a good amount of feel, and particularly a dynamic playing. I really like the idea of the clip, and as I said, I think it works super well. You know, the song itself has a bit of a quirkiness to it. It's got that sort of, yeah, a funky boppiness, but it's also that very sort of like, there's a lot of movement in the tempo of the song. Not saying that like it moves in and out of different tempos naturally, but like just the pulsating, it sort of gives you this movement. And I think, yeah, the movement with the tracking of the camera, and then also the movement of the other members around, I think was super cool. And it was fun to see, yeah, them pop up at different moments in different spaces around the home. A nice little touch that I think for an independent band, a small independent band, to be able to do something on a very small budget, potentially free if, you know, this is just a friend or a spouse, a partner filming. I think, yeah, a great way of adding a little bit of extra depth to a a very simple idea and to make it fun. So I'm kind of hoping the reason that Chris suggested home or solar is that solar is going to have a bit of a different vibe, so we can get an idea of the range of Valmuz, because the few songs that I have checked out from them just through Spotify, there's definitely a good range of style, and again, particularly mood, I think. So that's what I'm hoping that we get from Solar, is a bit of a mood shift. You've already won me over with the dog, so everything from here on out, it doesn't matter. No, that's a joke.
Out there beyond ether and sun, reality free.
Ooh.
A place where time bears paradigm, illuminating. Solar come down, solar come down, solar come down, solar come.
Damn.
Solar come down, solar come down, solar far from over.
There's so much going on. It really is, I guess, a disservice to kind of react to this sort of stuff, because I could really just sit here for 10 minutes at this point and try and really pick it apart, but I think I'll just stick to the things that are really catching my ear and drawing me in. I think we definitely get a bit of a mood shift, absolutely. You know, moving from, I guess with Home, we got a bit more of a rock sound, where this one, it's still got that drive of a rock song, but obviously the change to the nylon string guitar, you know, you just get a completely different feel. I think you could have, with Home, you know, argued that it's not quite jazz fusion, that it's a bit more of just even just a progressive rock kind of song. Whereas, yeah, this one, it feels a bit more, or much more rooted in jazz fusion. The one thing that has really stood out to me in this one so far is the harmonic relationship between the chordal arrangement that Peter is playing and the note choices that he picks for his vocal. There seems to be this pattern where, you know, he stays quite simple, and then every now and then there's these note choices in his voice that really add this extra layer, again, of a texture and a feeling and an emotion with the corresponding chord change. I think as for the rhythm section, bass and drums in this one, you know, it is just, yeah, pushing that song along, pushing the tempo, and there is a bit of a contrast I'm feeling where the rhythm section is, yeah, sort of adding this feeling of urgency, I guess, whereas the guitar seems to add a little bit more of a calmness, and that's kind of, for me, contrasting really well, particularly again with Peter's vocal, where, yeah, there is just this calmness of his vocal as well, which is such an interesting contrast again to that rhythm section. And then as for the brass instrument that we're getting, you know, it is again kind of just adding that brassy texture, and there was that nice melodic line at the start opening the song, or helping open the song. So that was cool. I do hope we get a bit more from him this time, in the form of maybe a solo.
Passing winds, pipes tell our dreams, communicate. designed for being evasive theme to separate from.
I will say with Home, you know, the mix and the production, it was really good, but there wasn't necessarily anything that kind of stood out to me. It was just a good overall production. Same sort of thing with this one, however, the guitar is being double tracked and there's these slight differences. Here, I think it works so well. There's just, these slight different voicings for some of the chord changes. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but for me, it's working super well, particularly in that sort of verse section and later in it. Yeah, there was just some nice little moments where the guitars weren't quite locking up perfectly, but that's such a nice little human touch that I really enjoy. Ooh. Yes. Ooh. The progression of that section, you know, it kind of came in very unassuming, and then the evolution of it where it slowly grew in sort of that intensity and that feeling of urgency was quite interesting, and I'm definitely gonna have to go back and listen to that again. And then that sort of slight drop for the clarinet to come back in and do its thing and really take hold and sort of really show, you know, that voicing that it brings, which really cuts through here, which is nice. And particularly in that section where you are getting a little bit of this urgency and that chaos and sort of controlled chaos, and it's really adding to that tension that's building. Hey, nice little bass run. Nice. A good measurement of not just a musician or a band's ability to play, but to then compose and write songs is adding in variation to sections which you've already heard 2 or maybe 3 times already, to just make the song a little bit more interesting. And that's exactly what we got in that sort of that last section there. After that bridge is we got a section which we've heard already many times throughout the song, but just these slight variations to melody and the harmonic chordal arrangement, you know, particularly there was a few little moments between the bass guitar and the acoustic guitar that really just take it from, okay, I've heard this before, it's nice, it's got a good melodic feel to it and a good texture to it again, but just, you know, a changing of 3 lines or even just the voicing of different notes, you know, particularly with Chris there, you know, maybe I just didn't pick up on it previously, and I'll go back and during the edit realize that I've made a mistake, or maybe I picked up on something. And yeah, there was just some moments where Chris would go up higher on the neck, and just playing that different voicing really, for me at least, it takes a section that I've heard already. You know, it's a great section, a great chorus, but just puts that tiny little spin on it to make it something different and stand out. And that's great. That's a great little beautiful moment to put in, and that's something that I'm constantly trying to do with my own music as well. As, you know, if I'm going to repeat a section, why am I repeating it? Is it just because it's a chorus and, you know, I want to repeat it? Or is there some way that I can change one or two small things so it's still familiar, but it's also different and new? Again, you know, these boys, they absolutely have chops. From my understanding, and the other songs, they're bringing different people in or different groups in to back them, or to just build up the arrangement around their songs. I think with this one, Solar almost feels like a song where it could just be Peter and guitar. I sorry to the other guys, but I do think that it wasn't necessarily a necessity to have the drums, bass, and clarinet in there. I think Peter could get away with just this being a guitar and vocal composition, and I think it would work super duper well. But I think the fact that there is the band backing the song, I guess theoretically you probably wouldn't have that dire sense of urgency and that movement that particularly the drums bring. You know, it is the rhythm section that really is pushing it all along, and I guess also the bridge section, you know, that slow build of controlled chaos to the point where you get that really nice release. Lyrically, I definitely wasn't following along to the narrative, but again, Peter's vocal, it really just does bring that texture and that mood and a sort of I guess just another compositional layer. It's almost less, and I definitely don't want to, you know, sort of offend the Peter or his lyrics at all, but it does feel like it is just more of another layer of and a very important melodic layer to push the song along, and I guess bring in that human voice, because again, someone like me, that I really do gravitate towards the jazz that is much more vocal forward. So I think if both of these songs didn't have any vocals in them, I probably wouldn't be as interested to listen to them again. They would still absolutely be great songs. There's some amazing musicianship, some great, obviously, camaraderie that you see between the band. But yeah, I think I probably wouldn't come back and listen to Valmuz again if it didn't have that vocal content. That's not to say that, you know, any of their songs that don't have vocals are bad or that I don't like them, because I have listened to, a few of their other songs. But for me, again, it's just something I'm biased. There's some great emotion in these songs, and something which I think is lacking in a lot of prog music is the emotion and sort of the intention. So overall, I think two pretty great songs with some outstanding musicianship. If you haven't checked out Valmuz, please do go and check them out. They've got quite a few songs available both on their YouTube channel and on streaming services, so absolutely go and check them out if you're into this sort of jazz fusion with a little bit of prog stuff in there. So that's it from me in this one. Be sure to let me know what are your guys' thoughts of Home and Solar by Valmuz. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, check out one of these other videos appearing before me. You'll catch me in the next one.